Hey, welcome to Aussie Online Growing on Shopify. My name's Rachel. This is episode 101, all about you are doing a good job. You are doing great. You should be encouraged and pat yourself on the back that today I'm sure you are doing a great job. And this episode has come about because I was looking at my Klaviyo stats and metrics, my dashboard inside Klaviyo, which is my email management system. It should be yours as well if you're in e-commerce. It's the gold standard for e-com for sure. And I was looking at my metrics in Klaviyo. I check metrics every month. I have a KPI spreadsheet I fill out for my e-commerce store just to keep track of what's going on so I can see problems as they come up and also congratulate myself on things that are going well. And it occurred to me when I was looking at my stats that some of the metrics I found that were my top performing metrics that I've always just taken for granted because they've always been pretty good were great. I didn't realize how good they were, though, until I was listening to another podcast about email marketing. And the lady was sharing in Australia what like the generic or usual or average, click through rate is or open rate on an email is. I thought, oh, that's interesting. So then I've gone to look for myself and found out how well some of my metrics are performing. And this podcast is because you are probably doing some things really, really well in your business today, and you don't stop and take the time to congratulate yourself. You potentially spend far too much time stressing about and worrying about things that you think are wrong or catastrophic that probably aren't, and you don't spend nearly enough time congratulating yourself and encouraging yourself on what's doing well. Let me be that encouragement for you today, because I know, and being an entrepreneur and growing a small business can be very lonely, particularly if you don't have a lot of friends or family that do the same. And I certainly don't. I'd be the only person, my friendship group, I don't have anybody that's starting a business or growing a business. And in my family, certainly nobody in the online space is doing this. So I feel quite alone sometimes in what I'm doing. And I'm well aware that I need to be the cheerleader for myself. Like, I need to stop and take stock of how well things are doing and like congratulate myself and take time to celebrate things that are going well instead of spending so much time potentially and often getting caught up with the giant list of things that need doing and feeling a bit overwhelmed by that, or a bit like I'm really not getting anywhere, because I am getting somewhere and you are getting somewhere too. What have you done? What metric can you find? What did you achieve yesterday or last week that was actually really good, that you can stop for a minute and congratulate yourself and just be grateful and like congratulate yourself on how well you've done, like that you are growing, that you are changing, that you are finding new things, that you are achieving certain things, that you have 10 customers, you have 100 customers, like you launched a product and you sold out, or whatever it is that's happened. You started a new website, like you changed the theme up and you rearranged your website and it's more beautiful now than what it was. And there's so many things that we do in being a small business and being a CEO that we don't often take time to stop and congratulate ourselves on how well things are going, and can get very consumed with how wrong things are when they probably aren't even that wrong. If you spend 5 minutes on social media, and I found this, and it does depend on the algorithm, doesn't it? Sometimes you can get thrown into like a side of social media that's not really where you want to be. But I ended up in a string of TikToks that were just the hook on all these TikToks was the same pretty much. Like everybody was using the same hook, which was basically making me feel crap. Like, stop doing this. You're doing this wrong. You haven't got sales because of this. If you're doing this today, you're doing it wrong. Your business is failing because of this. I felt wretched after, to no surprise. I really don't like that sort of marketing, that whole like pointing out the deficit in another human being and then telling them how you can fix it. Doesn't appeal to me at all. And if it doesn't appeal to you as well, then we are on the same page. Potentially that's a uniquely Australian talent or nuance, that we don't like that sort of thing. So I don't connect with that sort of marketing. And I guess when I saw many, many TikToks off the back of each other about small business and growing online, and they all started off with, you're doing this wrong, or if you're doing this, stop it, or you're failing because of this, or stop doing this today, I was like, oh, am I doing anything right? Yes, I am. And so are you. Let me tell you the one thing I found out that I was doing really right. Like, I knew I was doing okay, but I didn't realize it was quite this good until I listened to this other podcast about email marketing and open rates and click rates. So my top performing metrics in Klaviyo for August 2024 was my click-through rate, My click-through rate is 24.3% on my one of my flows, on one of my post-purchase flow, I think, 24.3%. And on my welcome series, so like my newsletter sign up welcome flow, my click-through rate is 31.7%. And I've had stats often hover around that, and Klaviyo gives me a little green tick and tells me that performance is excellent, which is lovely. And then I went to the Klaviyo industry benchmark reports, which I will link in the description, so they'll be in the show notes. You can download, well, you don't download it, it's like a web report. I trust you're finding value in this episode. This podcast is all about sharing the wins and behind the scenes challenges that come with growing an online business in Australia. Whether you're a business owner who's ready to step up your marketing game, or you're tired of doing everything DIY with mixed results, you're in the right place. Let's talk about what it really takes to build trust, boost visibility, and create a sustainable business. If you're a small Aussie business looking for marketing support on a project-by-project basis, you can find me at Aussie Online, growing on shopify.com.au, where you can book yourself a free discovery call. It'll only be 25 minutes and you can put it straight in my calendar. I've spent over $100,000 in the last few years on Meta, learning and growing and building several brands. If you found the Facebook and Instagram advertising world a little overwhelming, I encourage you to reach out to me for some specific support that's tailored towards your business goals. Without the crazy high retainer price and lack of transparency you may have experienced with an agency. And if you're not sure if you're ready yet to book your free discovery call, no worries. I have dozens of episodes you can go back and listen to for you or your staff to implement some marketing tactics and tricks and strategies DIY in your business to get you more discoverability online. Head to Aussie Online, growing on shopify.com.au. You'll find all my episodes there, plus any free resources that I have. I also post them there too. Hit subscribe and let's grow together. Now back to the episode. It has interactive components that you view online through a browser. So when you go and look at the Klaviyo industry benchmarks report for 2024, you can split it out by campaigns, by flows, by SMS, by revenue, by industry, which is very cool. And it will give you the average stat, and it will give you the top 10% stat, which is also super cool. So when I looked at my e-commerce store and the niche that I'm in, and I was looking at the open rate for my niche, my open rate doesn't appear in my top metrics, so that's cool. When I looked at the click rate, the average click rate for my industry is 1.6%. Seems awfully low to me, and it seems awfully low to me because my average is 31%. And then the top 10% in my niche or my industry for click rate is 5.22%, is the top 10 performing e-commerce, brands or stores or whatever in my niche. 5.22%, which I just triple checked it to make sure I was looking at the right stat, because my click-through rate between the two different flows that I have, is like 27%. 27%. Yay me. That's what this episode is all about. Yay me. Congratulations to me. I'm doing a great job about this, and I need to stop and appreciate what I have achieved and congratulate myself that I'm doing amazingly well at this thing in my business today, which is the click rate on my emails. My email marketing, which I talk about a lot on this podcast. I love email marketing, and I'm doing really well at it, particularly when I look at my click rate, which mine is like 27% on average. But my niche average, as far as Klaviyo is concerned, is 5.22%. What is that? Like 6 times more? 600%? I'm like 600% above average. Yes, I want to clap my hands, but that'd be really annoying through audio. Please take this episode today and find something you are doing well. You are doing very well. You are learning every day. You are moving every day. If you are looking to get more time back in your business because you are run off your feet, then you are building a successful business. You should be congratulated that now your problem is to find the time back in your life. And you need to be outsourcing, and you need to find project managers, and you need to find staff, and you probably need to find VAs and contractors and all sorts of things. So you have different sets of problems than beginner business owners do. I have different problems now. I've been in 4 or 5 years in business than beginners do. And I haven't got to the problems yet that I will have 10 years down the track that you may have that if you're listening to this podcast. Whatever problems you have that you happen to be up against at the moment, they're going to be there regardless. Spend a bit of time today looking for something that's gone really well, that you are doing really well at, and congratulate yourself about that. And try not to get too bogged down or caught up with the really dark side of marketing, particularly on social media, where people are almost like insulting you to then fall over themselves to solve your problem. Man, that rubs me the wrong way. If somebody like insults me to then come in and rescue me, oh, I just can't stand it. Like, it really irks me. That's just terrible. And I will not be that podcast creator, and I will not be that business owner. If you need support in your small business, if you need someone to manage a project for you because you need time back in your business and you are tired of feeling like things are falling through the cracks, and you need somebody who's been there and done it before, please reach out to me through my website, Aussie Online, growing on shopify.com.au, and we can have a chat about what's your latest struggle or what sort of are you up against at the moment that you know you need to buy your time back for, and let me take that marketing task off your plate for you. In the meantime, go and find something that's performing really well and celebrate that and do something good for yourself. I have to think about that now. I discovered this today, hence why I've recorded the podcast on a whim, because at the moment this is published, I'm on holidaying with my husband, so I'm not even in the country, which is even more exciting. Maybe that's my reward on holiday at the moment whilst this podcast has gone live. So I'm not even in the country. No, I need to do something today. I need to think of something to celebrate this amazing success that I had no idea was doing so well. I knew my stat was good. I knew that my click-through rate was always strong because Klaviyo tells me it's excellent. In my metric every month, it says excellent. So that's as far as I've looked. And now I've gone to look further into it. It's better than excellent. I'm like stellar achieving at this metric. I'm like 600% the average at this metric. I can't quite believe it myself. But I will go and do something to celebrate it, as you should do too today, for something that you are achieving in your business. And don't worry about what's not going right today, because those things will be there tomorrow and you will work on those and you'll problem solve them like you do everything else. But for now, go and find something that's doing really well and celebrate that today. Thanks for hanging out with me. I hope you enjoyed this episode, a bit of an interlude or something a bit different. And I'll see you guys next time. As always, keep learning.